weird. It was working earlier.
Good evening. I would like to call the regular city council meeting and public hearing of the governing body of the city of Blanco to order. It is 6:03. Roll call.
Mayor Lundy,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Barron, present. Councilmember McClellan,
Present.
Councilmember Smith is absent. Councilmember Threadkill,
Present.
Councilmember Donovan is absent.
Thank you. Please stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to announcements. I am very excited to announce that the city of Blanco has achieved gold status for the Scenic City certification. The Scenic City certification program is to support and recognize the Texas municipalities that implement high-quality scenic standards for public spaces, which include having higher municipal standards of environmental conservation, economic growth and growth management, and high quality of life for citizens. There are only 91 certified scenic cities as of today. This application was completed by citizens, myself included, who volunteered their time. This was not done by city staff, but we had the support of city staff. City staff was present alongside me at the Scenic City Award ceremony that took place at the Texas Municipal League Conference last week. They were at the conference and wanted to come and show their support. I'd like to give a big thanks to all those who have helped us with this application. The Blanco County burn ban remains on at this time and is still set to expire at noon on October 25th. The city of Blanco remains on stage 2 water restrictions. So I normally announce all the upcoming events around town during this time, and I realize that this is a lot of information. So I encourage everyone to look at the calendar of events that can be found on the city's website. And I also encourage people to sign up for the Chambers bi-weekly blast, which also contains a lot of helpful information about the upcoming events. That being said, I'm going to go through the events really quick. The Blanco Rotary Club is collecting coats for Hope Ministries from October 6th through the 21st. The United Methodist Church Pumpkin Patch is open Monday through Friday, 4 to 7, and Saturday through Sunday, 11 to 7 until October 31st. The Blanket Market Days will be taking place on October 15th from 9 to 4 on Courthouse Lawn. The library is hosting a Family Fall Day event on October 15th from 10:30 to 12. Our next Highway 281 Task Force meeting will be at 11 a.m. on October 24th at the Byers Building. Texas Maryville Festival will take place October 22nd through the 29th. The Real Ale Ride will take place on October 29th. Parking and on-site registration will open at Real Ale Brewing Company at 6:30 a.m. The Echo Gallery will be hosting its second Noche en Blanco event on October 30th from 5 to 8. Trick or Treat on Square will take place on Halloween, Monday, October 31st at 5:30. The Buggy Barn Museum will host its Family Fun Day on November 5th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Trails, Tales, and Tunes event will be held at the Gem of the Hills on November 6th at 5 p.m. We are about a year away from the annular solar eclipse, which will occur on October 14th, 2023. The Blanco County Eclipse Task Force is actively working to help prepare for this eclipse. More information can be found at blancocountyeclipse.org. Lastly, I'd like to congratulate our City Secretary, Lori Cassidy, for passing her final Texas Municipal Clerks Association exam last week. That means that Ms. Cassidy is now officially a certified municipal clerk. We appreciate her taking the initiative to obtain her certification and are beyond proud of her accomplishment. Congratulations. We are going to move on to comments. First, we have Wendy Smith.
I'm here on the regards to a property that y'all had established as a subdivision, Rocky Road Estates, and it's now been brought to y'all's attention that the owners of this property had illegally subdivided the property, and we're here to ask that you all rescind the establishment and recording of that subdivision. And I'm not sure if y'all would contact the county, but like I said, it was subdivided illegally, and we understand y'all didn't know all of that to start with, but we really appreciate you doing this for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Gail McClellan.
Well, I'm really sorry that Mike and Lisa aren't here tonight, because I know that they love trees too. We live at 1510 Green Lawn Parkway, next to the property that Mr. Doucette where he obtained a building permit for 7 homes. You know, I'm not seeing where was. I'm gonna hold this close. This property is on Green Lawn, and it's at the back of where the old state built was, and this property has come before y'all many times, the council in some way or another. Big, beautiful heritage trees and grassy, the animals love it, the wild animals and everything, it's great. Well, one of the conditions of the building permit was that no trees would be cut down. Well, on Friday, October 7th, we came home and noticed that one of the heritage trees was being cut down. The tree was just across our property line and in the corner. We couldn't figure out anything about it, but there were at least three men, maybe more men, cutting it down, and we went over and told them to stop, and they laughed at us and said, well, my boss told us to cut it, we're gonna cut it, even when we told them that it was against the law. One interesting thing is that the house is on the south end of that property, and it's just a long property, and this tree was as far on the north side of the property as it could get. And it was in the middle of 3 trees that were spaced out here, here, and here, and it had a yellow ribbon around it, and it had been cut down. Besides going against the building permit, this time of year when you cut an oak tree, you open yourself up to oak wilt. We have oak wilt south of town, we have oak wilt west of town, and we on our property have huge heritage oak trees, and we don't want to risk anything. You know, even if we didn't mind a tree being cut down, which we do mind, we would not want it done at this time of year. We don't want any risky behavior. One interesting thing about I already told you about the location. We know that there's a fine for cutting down a heritage oak tree, but that can't be undone. A fine doesn't do it. When you cut down an oak tree, it's like a debt. You can't bring that person back. You can't bring that oak tree back. There are certain things in life that once it's done, it can't be done. And this is one of them. Mr. Doucette promised he would not do it. He broke the building permit agreement by cutting the oak, and he broke faith, in my opinion, with the Blanco people. And in effect, he lied to y'all when he got that permit, like all of us, we were all there. I want to thank you for listening to me, and my solution would be that the building permit be revoked, or that for every tree cut down, one little house not being allowed to be built. Those big heritage oaks are heritage to our children, they are heritage. Thank you.
Thank you. Wayne Gosnell?
I'm still considered a recent resident of Buckle because we've only been here for 25 years. But I'm going to address the obvious tonight. There's been some talk around here. Does the city need ordinances? And I'd just like to address that. Martha, I chose to retire here in Buckle because it was a charming little town out in the hill country, had a lot of rural character and a lot of friendly people. And it still does. And we want to keep that. So I'm speaking in favor of keeping reasonable ordinances in place. To keep Blanco. It would be nice if everyone did the right thing and we didn't have to have ordinances. Yeah, but that's just not the case. If we have no ordinances that define what kind of town we want to preserve, then it's just going to be the Wild West stuff where anything goes, and everything that you hold here, everything that makes Blanco a unique place that we all love will be kept. When we first moved here, Becca Howerton, Betta Martin, Judy Dorsey, and many others were working on setting up Blanco beautiful. The organization, they had a vision of cleaning up Blanco. And they did a lot, but there's still a lot to be done to keep the city from being overrun by those who don't understand the kind of community or with all manner of things that besmirch the city's proud rural past. Dead cars have been hauled out of the city, annual trash off, there have been thousands of tons of junk. The Boy Scouts clean the river, and we all want to protect our night skies. I'd like to just quickly give a shout out to Andy Forsberg for knocking down the eyesore building in 4th and North Street. It was junky, now it's gone. Andrew and his property medics have also volunteered to place and maintain trash cans on the river up on Waters Lane, Flat Rock, and upriver from there. And that has made a tremendous difference in the amount of trash that people on the river. Good example. Credit should also go to Mike Arms there for renovating the old nursing home, and the other citizens and investors who are hard at work investing in properties in a way that makes us all proud of Blanco. This is all very good and we can continue these things. So we have to have ordinances to protect that kind of hard work. If there's an ordinance that needs to be changed, that's what we have you guys, that's what we have city council for. Our ordinances should reflect our rural character, that reasonable ordinances, reasonably enforced, will help preserve what we have to keep Blanco, now a recognized gold-level safe city, beautiful into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to move on to the proclamation. A proclamation in recognition of November 15th as Texas Recycles Day. Whereas America Recycles Day is held on November 15th and is the only nationally recognized time dedicated to promoting, celebrating recycling in the United States. Also known as National Recycling Day, the initiative began with Texas roots after 2 employees of the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality created Texas Recycles Day in 1994 and later presented the concept to the National Recycling Coalition. The first American Recycles Day was officially held on November 15th, 1997 and had at least 40 states participating. Whereas the average Texan throws out approximately 7.2 pounds of waste per day, which could be easily recycled. Recycling could significantly decrease the amount Texans spend annually to dispose of their trash and litter. Whereas using recycled materials for manufacturing of new products requires less energy than extracting and refining virgin materials, thereby reducing the combustion of fossil fuels for energy and the resulting air emissions, and conserves our natural resources. Whereas the state of Texas Alliance for Recycling, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, Keep Texas Beautiful, and Keep Blanco Beautiful encourage state and community leaders to spread their word about the programs that involve citizens and environmentally conscious behaviors. Now, therefore, I, Rachel Lumpy, as mayor of the city of Blanco, do hereby proclaim November 15th, 2022 as Texas Recycles Day, and call upon residents to join in activities that promote responsible environmental stewardship. Together, we can make every day Recycles Day and change the landscape in Blanco, Texas. We are going to move on to presentations. First, we have Chamber of Commerce quarterly hot funds report by Ms. Lydia Allen.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So this is my first time with this setup. So, the last time I came and spoke with you guys was in April. And, this is in honor of our scenic city designation because we submitted this picture to some market aspects. You can go on to that slide. This is just a really cute snapshot of our Visit Blanco Facebook page, Visit Blanco Texas Facebook page. In addition to this one, we also handle Texas Marigold Festival, Texas Iron Festival. So next one, I'm sorry, this is hard to read. Some of you may know that have heard this field before. Part of our marketing and advertising program is we have a page on Tour Texas. Tour Texas is which is part of the fulfillment pieces of the state of Texas. So you pay an annual fee to have an additional page on Tour Texas. And what we get out of that is it's an additional web presence for Blanco and our hotel establishments via this website. So if you look really closely, you know it's hard to see. This first slide is the activity on that Tour Texas page from this time last year to now. So 52,467.
52,467.
52,467.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's the number of people that have visited the site. It gives you information on how many people click through to our hotel, how many people ordered a downloadable visitor's guide. So it's a very economical way to get Blanco as a visitation destination, but our hotel establishment an additional presence on here. So the next slide is the activity since the last one I saw you now. So you can see we've got really big numbers. Of course, this time of year from April to now is very busy. A lot of people are getting out of town, they're coming to Latin things. But the numbers are really good. And you'll see from inside the packet, Tour Texas cost us annually. This is a great help. So here's just a couple of our ads. We'll go through these pretty quickly since April. This is our advertising sideways. Just so you know, some of these photos came from the photo shoot. 2 years ago, we did one in the spring and we did one in the fall. With national pictures that we use. What was going on there is flat. So that 2 times in a row. I would note that other than this banner on these ads, for about 8 years now, the chamber has not used any hotel items. Texas Highways events calendar. That is the piece that comes out quarterly from the Texas Highways group that tells everybody everything there is to do in Texas in that group of months. And we also submit application to different events that we know of going on as a residence. This is the average between our this one's Texas Highways. Obviously, in the fall. We replaced our visitor center signs that we erected a few years ago. We didn't use core glass on them and they were cracking and faded. So we replaced those this year with metal. They should last a lot longer and that's good. So a few notes about our last 2 quarters in terms of our visit markettexas.com website. Overall, our traffic is up 46% last year. Doesn't seem like a lot, but 46% on that. Our age demographic is getting better. It used to be our age demographic was the 45 to 60 female zone, and so we've been trying to reach out to younger groups and a little bit different demographics. So that's starting to even out across the board, which is good. Austin, Houston, and San Antonio remain our top cities, where there's more people in those cities looking to find out information about Blanco, they're coming to Blanco based on those analytics. Our organic acquisition was app, which is good. That means we're not paying for those ads, we're using anything special to get those ads coming in organic. Searching. So that is also very good. Q2 overall traffic was again, and also the 35 to 54 trending down a little bit lower was really strong in that quarter. And Texas traffic, you see, Austin was 22%. So it's interesting that we talked a lot about again, advertising money should go way far away. We don't advertise close. But I think it's interesting, even though we haven't been doing that, we've casting much broader than we're still bringing in customers around the city. So this, you guys have me talking, this is a little bit hard to read up on the screen. This is our marketing advertising plan for 2023. And it kind of starts in here. So for those of you who haven't heard this before, the AJR Media Group is the company that handles all of Texas highway products. Typically, the AJR Media Group and those Texas highway products are also the same products that the state of Texas uses. So they follow the same lines, they follow the same protocols as does the state of Texas. So if you go on to visit Texas, you are same information is crossing over into this umbrella. So the state traffic light is the fulfillment piece for the state of Texas. If you're in Arkansas and you see an ad, visit Texas, call this number to get your free, that's the document that goes out. It's every travel center, commerce center across the state of Texas, and it's sent to the state of Texas at the class of copies. So we made a few changes this year. Again, trying to get to a little bit younger demographic and have just a sincere request for some of our board members in discussion. So we're doing Texas highways again in the months that seem to matter the most. We have a February in there, that's to draw that traffic in those months we don't have hotel stays. Texas Highways events calendar again spring fall. TexasHighways.com, that's a digital ad again between February. And we're doing another one in October. So we're staying away from those middlemen. We seem to have a lot of visitors staying away. So then you see it through Texas.com. Another thing we started doing a couple of years ago is the state of Texas campaign. And what that is, it's a custom with SEO rich content based on the outline that you come up with by each of their key extensions. Because of our National Park Site designation and our upcoming scenic city, we focused on that. So we went live in October, and there's 5 critical links in each article. What's really cool about this too is these campaigns stay on our Texas page to pay for it once, it stays there forever. And so people are getting great views on it, we're getting views, and actually the 7 best things to do in Blankets continues to get. We're 2,500 hits a month. So hopefully we'll get some analytics on this new article, and we'll get some interest in our community with the dark sky designation and our city. So we're doing another road trips e-news that comes out in February. Goes out to the email folks that receive all that highways, road trips to take. Lincoln's going to be in there. Hey, get out of the city in February. It's around here, we'll decide what we put in there. But trying to encourage couples to come, girls trips to come. We have wineries, distilleries, all these great things. And so at the bottom here is our social campaigns. They're programmatic, digital, social campaigns, and then paid search campaigns. And they run for 6 weeks at a time. So we decided to take some advertising out of print, long hitters, and digital. And then we're going to try and see how it goes. You get really good analytics back on it, so we can really quickly it's working on it. And it's pretty economical. And so the ads, the paid search campaigns, when the ads come. So we're going to see how this goes. We kind of went tit for tat and took out the things at the same dollars competition to kind of keep our advertising budget. So a note about this budget again is, we don't do a lot of other advertising. Our budget here is not big enough to do all kinds of USA Today, which we have time for. A lot of these things, people call and say, oh, Robert, it's deal, it's only 15 grand. Like, oh, okay. So AGR moving through this Texas Highways Group, it's economical. If you look over at the right hand side, we start planning our advertising. I start talking to my rep in July, she came in with my board meeting case. So we're planning it out early. One reason why we do that is you get social records early for discount. So we're getting a lot more bang for our buck, if you will, by planning early, doing it succinctly. So, do y'all have any questions about the advertising plan? And incidentally, anybody ever wants to come, I keep a binder in my office for every year doing this, with every ad, every cover, every information, just look at. And here we want to come and we can talk about how or what you think we should do. Let's see about this. More eyes and heads. So a few talking points again. So since April, we had a great spring and summer season. We had a lot of visitors here. After Festival was in June, despite we still have school. Our engagement continues to be good in Tour Texas. We receive requests for information. It leads from them that we then have to the Chamber Blast that we send them on a different schedule. We mail very few we're trying to, in a way, and I hope this doesn't sound strange, grow our tourism slowly but surely. I know Lavender Festival is a giant thing, and it's kind of so we're trying to grow our tourism into a way that people come for some reason, then they decide to be and they come at other times. So we don't just want to run something and never come back again. We want them to come started to see that happening. I talked to them. Well, I was just here in February and came back for the Lavender Festival. I was just here in Lavender Festival. Excited to come back when this is so crazy. So we're starting to get return visitors, and that has a lot to do with our establishments and our friendly people when they come. They're nice to our visitors for the most part. That's a real benefit to our so just to note, we did not do any third-party distributions last year. There really wasn't any money in the budget. We set our budget, it was much lower than it was. We didn't have anything else for this. However, the next year's budget, there's really not any money for that either. But we have had some people approach us saying that they were going to apply to come under this thing. So we can talk about that when that comes up. We've got some time to handle that. So just let everybody knows that visitor center, which is the courthouse, is staffed 7 days a week. Part of the administration money that you see as a line item in our budget goes to pay the person who's there on weekends, or pay her to be there when somebody else can't be there. Normally, if it's I can't be there, the chamber pays her, Noel can't be there, the courthouse pays her, but if it's an event that we need extra coverage for extra visitors, then and she's great for visitors. She knows the courthouse. So I told you guys that our planning starts early. That's been an issue with educating our events people, letting them know that if you decide you're having an event and you tell me 1 month before, no, I can't get it. The act, it's too late, those ads. We've already planned for those ads. The submission for those ads is really education too. All of them, when you're having an event, we can put it in comprehensive advertising. You just have to know about it and have a big graphic, so it's causing everything to have a plan a little bit farther ahead. That's good for that. And then I wanted to see. I know the short-term rental ordinance passed, and not see, but rather ask if we could come up with something maybe in our monthly meetings or quarterly, just how are we doing on that? Entities that have gotten permitted and passed the application process, mainly so that those hot paid entities can be added to the Texas page, which is paid for the hot conservation present there. Chamber members, the settlement, what is called the railroads now, is not inside the city limits. So they are not on this budget. They are a member of the chambers. They are on the chambers. So only hotel paying entities are on the Texas page. Questions, queries, comments? You guys also have our general ledger from the start of the year. Started the quarter, actually started fiscal year last year through when I printed it out. We got our balance sheet on also you can see exactly where we spent our money, where it went to, dollar amounts on the maps. We do pay. Last week we paid somebody. Hotel created and help us with our platform. We did with the money, so we could do it back in house. We paid that. We're still paying them every year. We need to make smart at this point. A few signs, a few trips to the post office, but pretty much the rest of this is all administration. I think that's courthouse visitor center fees.
Yes, but I'm curious if we get any feedback on other things. If you, and you have to answer this now, but to ponder, would it make sense to consider some of the ad budget maybe being used for some other things that would help the visitors have a better experience? I get asked a lot. I get asked about the idea, which I personally think is great, to have some sort of kiosk guide to businesses that are not located on the square, so that they know, come down here, go to the bakery, or go over here, so they see there's more to do in Blanco that's just on the square. And those are things that could be paid for by hot funds. Right now, I know the budget's tight, and so it's been used for advertising, but I'd like you to think about feedback you get from businesses and visitors as to whether maybe looking at the next budget, might there be a publication or something where if instead of paying for that, you would install wayfinder signs.
Sure, now we've talked about outcome and where the sites go, what they look like, and in fact, we're just talking about it last week. So we have, you and I are talking about this, but what we did to kind of bridge that gap to that point, and we're gonna have to say, what is colors of sign gonna be, what's gonna be made of? So what we did, we got QR codes, grounds, we scanned, and people would visit like the Texas, everything's there. We tried to do a few things to get that information in their hands without the sign, but absolutely, yes, we have. And I think with a little bit better, once we get on a little bit better schedule, we'll be able to plan for that. We'll be going year to year to year to year, and it's kind of hard to, we're getting it late, and okay, we're catching up, and so I would love to get to that point, and because the sites are so absolutely cool. Yeah. Thank you. But online.
I just want to say thank you so much for all that you and the chamber doing for the city. We really appreciate it. And just so everybody is aware that the chamber and the city have been meeting monthly, so we're in constant communications, and I think that relationship is solid.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have capital improvement and asset management advisory committee. Mr. Mike Regan.
That's good. One challenge over here. I'm Mike Rick, I'm the chair of the capital improvement asset management advisory committee. For the purposes of this exercise, infrastructure, parking, water, sewer, roads, stormwater. All right, so First thing I'd like to, next slide. First thing I'd like to talk about is what we've accomplished today. I think the most important thing that you all have accomplished from setting up this committee is you have provided a formal mechanism for leveraging talent and resources inside the city limits and outside the city limits at no cost to the city, but to the benefit of the city. So we're all volunteers. But it provides a mechanism for reaching out and finding talent pools, and I think the city's been beneficial. So that's first and foremost. We've been in existence for about a year and a half. In that year and a half, we have found several $100,000 worth of engineering products and maps and data that have been lost and unused. So we collected and resurrected that information. We supported the federal infrastructure bill, and I understand 3 of those projects have been approved. That's the we supported and are continuing to support compliance with the EPA lead and copper rule as the rule was promulgated by the EPA as a result of the Flint, Michigan lead pipe debacle. We developed a city map, so interactive map of the city streets. So all of the city streets, it shows condition and traffic. You can sort and filter that out, whatever you like, prioritize paving at no cost to the city. We resurrected or found an old map that was created for the water system, and that is now a digital map. It's really the architecture of the water system is still refined. We have constructed a capital improvement plan, which was our original agreement. And it's the first time that I know the city has at least a ballpark idea of what it would cost to fix city infrastructure. We determined water plant, sewage plant capacity, critical trigger points, and current throughput. We've identified and clarified the building process and major leaks and inefficiencies in the building process. Okay, work in progress. So the water system map we're still working on and improving it. A leak and jetting data. So we have had all systems leak. This system leaks a lot. Infomark fixes roughly an average leak a day. We have been fixing a lot of leaks for a long time. We have not been collecting that data. So what would be ideal is for you all to have the data and say line X, Y, Z is at the top of the list in terms of leaks. So that line is the one that got an extra couple bucks to work on. We don't have, but it's in the budget for this year. We're working today and Infomark to modify their computer maintenance management system with our mapping system, so that the guys in the field, they're fixing a leak. It's not the location. They just input the data and it automatically populates. And so in the future, we'll have. To me, that's good. We're continuing to work on the capital improvement plan. We've identified problems with utility reporting. The next step is to make recommendations on how we can improve that. For instance, just to put this in perspective, you'll recall last year we talked about an average leak history of 27% of water on an annual basis. I looked through the old reports, and there were some reports, some months where we had 60% water. Now, that data exists. It has to get to the right people. It has to And of course, Warren's on now, Infomark's up and running. When I say the efficiency of utility reporting, that's what I'm talking about, is getting the right data to the right people. So if somebody said, my God, that's horrible, what are we gonna do about it? Information management, we'll continue to support that, and map digitization. So we looked, our committee looked at all the maps of the Myers building. So I don't know if we've looked in the closets, there's several cabinets and all that. Of all those maps, there's one map that's for digitizing. All right, so what are the key takeaways for the, at least our key takeaways for the, this committee thus far, and I hope that your key takeaways too. So I think forming the committee to leverage local expertise has been beneficial. Maintenance city infrastructure has been historically underfunded, which now requires normal maintenance plus 50 or more years to catch up. That's roughly $45 million. So that's not a fixed surface equipment. Y'all going past. The city council's done a good job of addressing most of the surface stuff. But we're talking roads, water lines, sewer lines. Fixing this is going to require an innovative solution, funding, and continuous improvement. That, to me, we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but one more slide. By definition, city council is short-term, like a 2-year cycles. What I think we bring to the table is that's what this can't be year-to-year now. It's got to be a long-term program. Tweak it. That's got to be respected and how we manage it. And discharge of wastewater on land is being discussed. That's going to cost additional dollars to that hasn't been quantified. Okay, so last slide. So how to fix all this? The first thing that needs to happen is and this is a committee presentation. This isn't just me. We need to strengthen the interaction between short-term elected officials involved and groups working on long-term multi-year endeavors. That's us. I think the work is appreciated and understood, but that bond and communication and common understanding has got to improve for us to be able to address this long-term multi-year problem. It would be nice to complete one integrated project so that one thing that we have concluded is that the water, the sewer, and the roads are all interconnected. And that's not how we go. The road gets so bad, we go out and fix the road, or the sewer line gets so bad, we go out and fix the sewer line. The water lines and sewer lines, to a large extent, underline the road. So we go in and fix the road, spend a lot of money, it's a beautiful road. We go back a month later and we tear it up to fix a water leak. Or somebody builds a house and we have to install a tap into that line that's located underneath the road. So it took us a while, but we finally concluded that we really need to address all three together. So the approach that we're taking, that needs to be endorsed by the law, is to focus on water leaks. So focus on the worst water lines. Use them to prioritize. Fix the sewer line, water line, the road for that section of street or streets. It would be nice to complete one of those integrated projects so that we can test our cost. We got costing from our Dura engineering firm. But those are for discrete projects. We might be able to cut these costs down significantly if we can be creative and not re-engineer it each time. these projects, well, some of y'all are go away or re-elect, somebody else comes in. It's a brand new project, pay for all of those work products all over again. We need to avoid that. And you all can leverage our committee for helping find funding alternatives. That's a lot of money for a small community, and I know we can't just do this in a couple of years. We can't do it through just rate increases. But having said that, I guess where the committee is we can do some of this other stuff and support and continue to do that. But in terms of fixing the infrastructure, long-term infrastructure, two things are not there. And this is the long-term committee, volunteer committee helping the city council. Is we've got to increase this communication bond and understanding and make it a long-term plan that survives from one city council to another. And there's got to be a willingness to increase rates or taxes or some revenue somehow. I mean, every time we broach this subject, not only since we've been in existence, but in the past, I know taxes are horrible. Nobody wants to pay taxes. Nobody wants to want this. There's such a thing as inflation, and we have a pretty big deficit to flood. So if those two things don't happen, then there's really not a lot that this committee can do to help with long-term infrastructure. So we would focus on other things. But our original remit was to help the city understand and solve these long-term infrastructure problems. And we can go year to year saying we don't have enough money. I suspect if we go back 10 years, that same conversation we had 20 years ago, same conversation we had 5 years from now. But if it becomes a priority, and I think it should, then the conversation around how we get the money rather than we don't have it. All right, questions?
Have your committee, and again, I've said this before, and I can't possibly say it enough. Thank you, Mike, and committee members. If any, these are public meetings. I think I missed one, and they are in education. These folks work, and the information that they've been able to find for us that never was available to the city before is amazing. It's not good news, but at least now we know what the bad news is. But you mentioned identifying a project. Does the committee have, at this time yet, a section, a place that you're ready? Or how long might it be for you to bring us something that says, we'd like to fix from here to here and here to here, as we've identified, that's the meeting.
We do. We have several of them, and but that needs to be an interactive discussion. So, we can make it bigger or smaller, but we have the data, and it's easy to do that. Right. And we identified some projects, some of them are rather large, and probably something to start with. The answer is yes.
I just want to thank you for all of your work and your committee's work. We really appreciate it. Mayor Pro Tem Karen said that y'all have put a lot of work into this and has helped the city tremendously. So I really appreciate it.
What better maybe? How near to capacity is a wastewater treatment plant? How much growth I don't know if you studied that. It has. How much with the rest of the plants?
So, Dan,
Sorry.
so I'm about to answer this question, but I've been out of state for the last month or so, but I've been reading email notes on.
So it did change. So the last we talked, we were at 80% capacity. I was going through our data when we set up the tracking software where we enter all of our lab, effluent data, et cetera. There was one missing variable. So we are actually at 56% capacity, not 80%. So, that will be coming out on the report that y'all should get probably tomorrow, the next day. I was just waiting for some lab data to come in before I sent that out, but we are at 56% capacity right now.
And at 70%, you're required to be in. Right. In the design phase. I've heard secondhand information, I understand that their constraints were shut down because they were at 70%, but their design movement were not design. And so we have a spreadsheet, it's easy to, I can tell you how many houses. I just don't have.
Yeah, when I heard the 80%, you got to start budgeting. Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to move the agenda around a little bit, and I'm going to skip to the oath of office. So the oath of office is going to be administered to our new police officers, Daniel De La Rosa and Zachary Rice. Chief Rubin is going to do the presentation.
In the name of my authority, Texas. I state your name. You solemnly swear. Execute the duties of the office of police officer. The office of police officer. City of Waco, City of Waco, State of Texas, State of Texas. Will to the best of my ability and to the best of my ability. Preserve, protect, and defend. Preserve, protect, and defend. Constitution and law. Constitution and law. The United States. Of the United States. Of the state. Of the state. So help me God. So.
Wrong.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to public hearings. So at 6:55, I'm going to open the public hearings. Approval of special use permit to allow for a food court located at John Mueller Addition Lot 2, Lot 1 property located in R5. And we have the second one, which is the appeal of administrative decision denying application for building permit to install 2 intermodal shipping containers at 1725 South US Highway 281, Waco, Texas. And our first speaker is Lynn DiMencio.
council, I'm gonna read, an email that Lynn sent me, that she asked me to read, and she didn't make it, she was talking there. Okay, she's talking, regarding the storage containers. I'm opposed to shipping storage steel containers being used for storage on properties. These types of containers are not consistent with the city's guidelines, not in the spirit of the city's codes, or in line with the city's beautification desires that the city is working hard to achieve. UDC 4.9 special requirements, outdoor storage to limited storage does not even allow temporary and/or storage containers, much less permanent. Storage containers should not be allowed and not for a permanent solution when there are so many other conforming options available for properties and owners. If allowed, then every other citizen of Blanco should be allowed to have these too, which would be very unfortunate for Blanco, its tourist appeal, historic appeal, and its property values. If the property owner chooses to have an overabundance of storage items, they should make space in other parts of the building or rent a legal storage unit down the street like others. We don't want to begin to lower values with storage containers out front and on everyone's properties. Let's keep working to make Blanco beautiful. Linda Vinciano. Thank you.
Thank you. John Simone?
I probably didn't need to sign as a speaker because at the moment I'll be
Mike Arnold?
I wanted to speak in favor of my friend Timothy. We're next door neighbors there. We're working to fix up our property there on 281. Nice campus feels what we're aiming for. You know, they've spent money fixing that place up. They made it look very nice. They also, the gallery there, I don't know if you realize, people fly in to shop there. They're very high end. When it comes to aesthetics, what looks good, they could be lecturing out of stuff the other way around. I mean, they really, they're invested in the property. They know what looks good. I've been to places and seen entire shopping centers built out of these containers that look fantastic. I've seen very high homes. This is one of those instances where technology and building practices have advanced faster than city ordinances. Okay, this is not some junky thing you're talking about. What's funny is as a contractor, they can hire me with some designs. I could go get the metal, move it over there and build it, make it look just like a shipping container, and that's okay. But here's something that recycling, it's energy, it's environmentally friendly, and very well constructed. They're going to make it look really good. It's going to be, they're not going to diminish the value and aesthetics of their property. They've invested. So, I mean, it's a technology that can be used very well. It can be made to look very nice. It's very energy and environmentally friendly. I think it's a shame that we're not letting them do that. That's why it's a special use permit. It's not everybody's going to start doing this. You do it on a case by case basis. But this is a modern thing. I hope the ordinances, city government will catch up and let them do something nice with the recycled materials. Thank you.
Thank you. But 7 o'clock, we have completed the public hearing. We're back in the regular meeting. And we have staff presentations. First, we have City Hall. Mr. Esposito.
So good evening, council, residents of Blanco. So before we talk about some of the items that are coming up, I do want to just mention that I think that my opinion, the whole group, IMAC has done fantastic. OJ, Steve, all those guys, Brian did a fantastic job. We had a lot of really good residents and people that help us. Small staff couldn't be happen. I do want to mention that we are still in stage 2 water restrictions. And that's really remember a couple of months, but we do follow with Candy Lake, does well. So one of the things I've been asked about is, there's a 4th Street, and where the old 300 is, there's been striping on 4th Street and TRP, which is a contractor for Tech 5. I've done some of the work. I haven't done it on Byron, this Ardura, working with striping, and have that here in about a week or so, and then we're working with TRP to actually get all downtown striped. So that was something that the council administration, and it's just taking a little bit just because but they're still in town, so that they do that work. As you know, we've been looking at code enforcement. One thing I do want to mention, though, since the council's been looking at the different ordinances and everything, we have another level. Put everything in full, but I'm still focusing on quality, focusing on the aesthetics. But right now, we have something that I want to kind of just see where community and where is at this point. So just to talk about the public safety, talk about that. We also a couple months ago we got the city to city council approved putting a stop sign at 3rd right in front of City Hall. So we're still working on the contract. Other thing I want to mention is really hard work that next really hard work that our PPC commission does, and they're going to be working on PPC updates. I want to mention that PPC will be meeting 17th, which is next week. Actually, here at Genevieve Hills at 6:30. Update. Also, so you're interested. I have a presentation from Tom McClung, who and Brandon along we did our overlay, the zoning overlay, and that'll be your first chance to actually see the overlay zoning to do a presentation of the draft ordinance on that. So that's kind of what we've been doing. Again, I want to thank everybody for their hard work.
I have one question. What's the status on the water treatment plant?
So there hasn't been much of a change. We're really waiting for the water treatment plant. Still looking at substantial completion sometime in the middle of November and final completion, which will have the generator change. So I think we had that update before. Nothing will change on that level. So yeah, I think the answer is that the river really not enough water, and maybe you could, but I think water quality would be better taken from the lake.
We could probably run it long enough to make sure, commission it, make sure everything's working, but to actually put it in service, I'm not sure how much the water supply would be at this point.
And again, I think that's a conversation, but there is no guidelines for us as far as when it's appropriate to pull water out of the river, as far as flow rate.
We treat the water based on the water quality. That's why we test the water before we bring it into the facility. We test the river, we test the raw coming in, so we know how to treat it. So ultimately, treating the water is not the issue, maybe more chemicals or whatever. It's just the amount of water that's available with the drought and everything else. Yes.
I did want to, tomorrow, there is a possible water outage in the afternoon between 3 and 7.
So tomorrow we're tying in some water valves. We'll be starting the water off at 3:30. We're hoping it should take no more than a couple hours. We're shooting from 3:30 to 6. Do not know everybody that will be affected, but we do know it will be from 4th Street south all the way to the river, and then from 281 to the high school. So that section of town could be out. We're going to try to limit as many customers as we can. So if there is water off, just be patient with us. And it's on the city's Facebook page. If you have an emergency or something comes up, there is a phone number on there that goes directly to the Public Works Department.
Do we have any notice obligations in that regard as far as a water outage?
Yeah, we posted,
It's
it's on the website, I believe, it's on Facebook, and we handed out flyers to all the businesses, the daycares, the schools,
Oh,
the
great.
restaurants, anybody that could be impacted, just to give them a heads up, especially like Josie's and those places, the high school. And that's another reason why we scheduled for Wednesday, is because there's no sporting events, there's nothing at the high school that requires the gym, so we were trying to do it in the afternoon to accommodate everybody.
I would say too, if anybody hasn't signed up for city ordinance, please do, because that's, I left the city alert today, so we have their email, another city alert, and anything like this, that should get.
Thank you. Moving on to the police department, Chief Rubin.
Good evening. Got the monthly report numbers. Just wanted to report quickly. So as of tonight, I'm swearing in Montego Rosa. We are currently at full staff. The positions that we're offering aren't here yet. They go pretty soon. We're very fortunate. There's a lot of departments that are at full staff. We are at full staff. That being said, we have one officer that's on like maybe that returned to work today. So right now we have one officer training and one additional officer. So we're getting closer to where we need that to. But we're trying to make the most of it as many miles as we can. The mayor pointed out some of the activities that are coming up next month or so, so we're gearing up for those. We're also contacted and they're wanting to do the Veterans Day parade. So a couple of groups interested in that, so we're working with them to see how that'll go. More as we real else air ride, that would be pretty considered labor intensive. To get that to town. And Halloween is coming up, so we'll be ready for Halloween. A bunch of churches, different activities going on in town, so we're trying to present it as well as the activities on the square. We also did receive the school district taking their weight rooms, so we were fortunate to receive the stuff they replaced. So we have a pretty good beginning of a weight pile, and some benches and stuff. So I know we want it to rain, we just want it to rain right now.
Have a lap bar.
In addition to that, we did get a donation of a entry system for the water. The buzzer no longer worked for a lot of people into the lobby. So somebody donated a pretty high tech thing, came out and installed it, push a button on it, and see you, talk to you, the button actually works. So you come to the police department, you don't have to bang on the door anymore, which you don't anymore there. So that's my report.
Thank you. We are going to move on to the consent agenda. The following items may be acted upon in one motion. Item 1, approval of minutes from the September 13th, 2022 regular meeting and public hearing. Item 2, approval of minutes from the October 4th, 2022 special meeting. Item 3, approval of appointment of Rodney Brickhill as the city council liaison to the Blanco Water Reclamation Task Force facilitated by the Meadows Center for Water and the Environment at the Texas State University. Item 4, approval of resolution 2022-R009, declaring certain personal property and surplus equipment and authorizing sale. 5, approval of resolution 2022-R010, criminal justice division grant application. Item 6, approval of resolution 2022-R011, declaring excess city property surplus and authorizing disposal. And item 7, approval of resolution 2022-R012, approving certain engagement terms relating to preparation and filing of an application for a grant under the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Rural Connectivity Pilot Program. Is there a motion?
I have a question on number 4. I noticed there been, some firearms that are being considered for sale. How would those be advertised? How would that?
I'm not a fan of recycling, so when we seize weapons and stuff, we destroy it. So these are actually weapons that, departmental weapons, that have, some of them have reached their useful life. And so what we're doing is working with a police firearms vendor, and we will use these weapons to trade weapons as part of that sale. So they'll go to a police distributor and, you know, put it at a department. So they'll get us credit on the new weapons. So they won't be just advertised. Just, I don't want that gun 3 months from now being involved in the crime, so I'll be able to.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it.
Got.
Yeah, when we talk about sell weapons, it's when they're department weapons, and we'll do a trade in with a police.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to move that we approve consent agenda items 1 through 7.
Mayor Pro Tem Barron has moved to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 7. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember McClellan has seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? The motion carries unanimously. We are going to move on. I'm going to do a little more rearranging of the agenda. I'm going to go to new business. Item 2. Discussion, consideration, and take action on approval of proposal from Mortuary and Associates LLC to prepare a financial application for the city of Blanco at a cost of $42,000.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Really excited. Bill Moriarty, the engineer, put together a few months ago a Texas Water Development Board. And the great news is that they received it and they are going to fund this gift for $3.5 million, with 600,000 of that being grant. And so the next step is to get Mr. Montgomery on board to do the full application, and then I'll also let you know that in his presentation, but that will also on council and financial advice, additional cost that will bring that to council. But I kind of wanted to let you know how hard working, and it's really great needs to the next one. So it's a little more than I am.
Thanks, Warren. Pleasure to address you this evening. Warren stated he submitted the gift last March. Over 400 communities around the state, and we were one of the 60 fortunate ones. The water application, ranked 37, over 260. The wastewater one in that place. So we expect to receive a letter from the Texas Water Development Board. I attended their board meeting last Wednesday. They approved what's known as the intended use plan, which is included in. And we will get a letter from the Texas Water Development Board that set off the process of them inviting us to turn for them a substantial financial application. And over 8 to 10 months, we'll work with them until we get the money placed in escrow. So you'll end up executing great agreement for grant funds. You'll get a subsidized loan from the payment of the funds. So the real benefit, not only $600,000 grant fund, subsidized loan, the save another 600, so there's almost 1.2 million dollars of benefits during that program. So wastewater wise, we will, we're gonna go hand in hand with that again next year for our application. See if we can move that thing up. Remember, we're dealing with federal infrastructure money. We have a 5-year window. We just completed. So every year the money gets bigger, 20% of the number of applicants. We're down to 60 communities are satisfied. So we'll stay with that and until we bring that home. I'd also mention, you know, the board has many other great programs that keep an eye on for you. And we're looking for more money in flood infrastructure fund this session of the legislature. So we thank you for flood projects. Spoken for their and also keep aware of lead water services. I sat through a 4-hour PCQ briefing today, and for communities that have water service from the main house. There are federal requirements to inventory 2 years. There will be 49% places. So keep an eye on them. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Also, I want to say that thanks to Mr. Moriarty, he gave us a heads up on some issue that allowed us to plan for that. We started looking at the related. Has been funds in places that not known they were there. So it's been wonderful to talk to us. Find money, because goodness knows we need to find money. Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Second, okay, I would like to move that we approve that we approve a proposal, accepting a proposal from Mr. Moriarty, approve a proposal from Mr. Moriarty and Associates to prepare the financial application for the city of Blanco to receive Texas Water Development Board funds at the cost of $42,000.
Mayor Pro Tem Barrett has moved to approve the proposal from Moriarty and Associates to prepare a financial application for the city of Blanco. Is there a
This is to make applications.
Basically, the way that I understand it correctly is that once they tell us we've been accepted, we pretty much get accepted. They will give us the money, but in order to get the money, we've got to do that. So financials, engineering reports, do all of the things to walk it through the process to receive those funds. If we don't do this, we are walking away from it. That's fine.
What will be the cost to the city to do this? Do we know?
So the cost, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about Jackson. There's a couple other water lines that have tremendous amount of leaks, and so we're talking eventually. So 600,000 receiving and but will eventually have to put on, which is why we'll sit out there. This is free money, and the other part of it is that this loan will also be subsidized. So this is a great opportunity to fix infrastructure. Just listen to my reading and get through the infrastructure in place. Well, this is one of them. It's just one of them. I think they put a number of $40 million in place in it. So we have to do a little bit. no brainer. This board already and staff and you, so, yes, it costs money, but we're gonna have to fix it. I'll wait.
Councilmember McClellan has seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? The motion carries unanimously. So we are going to go back to old business. Item 1, consideration, discussion, and take action on approval of financing options of the SCADA upgrade replacement for the Blanco distribution system.
And this is just a quick update. I think it was the last scheduled council meeting that we went ahead for staff. SCADA and then the other we will get for we paid that first. I don't have to pay what the actual SCADA, but see today to make sure that we're so hopefully the next couple months or so that system.
Moving on to item 2, consideration and discussion on amendment to chapter 7 of the Code of Ordinances and Health and Sanitation for maximum height of weeds and other vegetation, and amendment to chapter 3 animal control livestock.
Well, thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm talking about this. One thing I wanted to mention, I think is community, is a great community, and we work really hard to try to provide the best we can for citizens. One of the things that we talk about, not just community compliance, we talk about enforcement of all the rules. And one of the things we try to do is make sure that we're looking at these rules and we're trying to do all those things. And that's what was said. The rules that you don't mind, things, ordinances, updated, correct updated. So one of the things I'd like to kind of just ask people to think about is think about what you want for your community. Think about what we actually are trying to look at and what you want to see. So I've tried to do that. I live here right now and I love it here. It's great. Right now, our ordinances have that you can't have more than 12 inches of high grass. On the other end, it also talks about animals that are restricted. Doesn't say that you can't have an animal. It says you can't have a chicken and herbivores. It doesn't say you can't have different types of animals. It just has to be restrained on that. And so one of the things we do, and I'll tell you the staff recommendation, one thing we look at is, and I do understand is that understands the community better, that there are things that people want. Wildflowers and different things. But also want to people understand that they're seasonal. Those are things that may happen in July or whenever. And we can look at exceptions. Certainly when before season exceptions. Also look at having grass tolerance. But also make sure that you understand that once you change these rules, that you only enforce. So, for example, you change it to 18 inches, think about both people on both sides, we have 18 inches. That's okay. Maybe it's not. If we had something higher than that, maybe it isn't. High grass, they can do different things like bugs. They have things like rats, and they may not. It's really important that you're looking at it for your. So I want you to look at those. As far as so having said that, basically the recommendation for the staff looking at those rules and looking what's easier is something that the community wants, and 18 inches would be okay. As far as the chickens and roosters constraining it. If that's something that you didn't want to have, but actually just take that otherwise, probably keep other animals. So, that's a recommendation. However, before I stop here, Tim, as an attorney, have anything to mention?
Well, I wanted to be sure I set a minimum. If you did find, I think that, I know you, Councilman Farrakhan, you received it, and I also sent a copy of that to the mayor, other members of the council. I don't know if you received that, but the question that posed to me about whether it made sense at all to just simply repeal this and revert to state law. My response was, I don't recommend such. In the case of overgrown weeds, it seems to me legally, if you decide not to simply repeal it all, which then throws you into state law, which in the weeds situation doesn't have any rules, mandatory rules for cities. It has 36-inch rules for unincorporated areas and counties. Local government code authorizes you to either set an objective standard like 36 inches, 18 inches, whatever, and adopt a provision that regulates, quote, unsanitary conditions likely to attract or harm mosquitoes, rodents, vermin, or other disease-carrying pests, regardless of the height. That's another option. So, I don't have a recommendation per se. I'm just throwing these things out for your information. Yes, sir.
In response to dangerous situations, is that already modified? Is that already in here?
I think we have something like that. You have an unsanitary conditions provision, but it doesn't address this interesting local government code language that ties into regardless of the height of weeds. So that's the only trick. There's a specific provision in state legislation authorized general law cities like Blanca to opt into that unsanitary condition provision that I just recited for you. And if you need a copy of it, I can copy to you here in just a moment. With respect to the livestock issue, I was pointing out, some folks asked about, well, what about a appeal of the livestock provision? And I pointed out that if we do that, and we revert to the old agriculture code provisions, which makes the sheriff, county sheriff, responsible for receiving reports of stray animals, for trying to locate the owner, and for impounding his or her option, impounding the animal. So under those circumstances, while they're, I mentioned maybe there could be some arrangement with lycopene. I don't recommend that you do that you throw it in for first response type activity. Generally, there's another provision in the local government code that authorizes cities to, quote, the governing body may prohibit or otherwise regulate state legislature. The governing body may prohibit or otherwise regulate the running at large of horses, mules, cattle, sheep, swine, and goats. They talk about poultry. And all these other cities that have adopted rules on poultry have done so under their general power to regulate public nuisance. And right now we do have that on the books. But as Warren said, we can take it out. Poultry provision, but I wouldn't recommend deleting the entire livestock provision. Straight.
So, going back to this, so in regards to what the state has to say about stray livestock, that's on the books.
The agriculture code provision is on the books.
But that we would be putting all the responsibility on our county. Sure.
We'd be looking, I wouldn't allow this to be a minimum agreement, but legally, the sheriff would have authority to deal with spraying. And that goes back, this is one of the earliest laws in the Republic of Texas. It goes way back. Open range.
Right.
So
And then, yes, sir.
Well, from my experience, normally the local PD does, the sheriffs normally do livestock, the stray livestock. Horses, cattle, things like that. Smaller animals normally falls.
This is livestock. I'm speaking, I'm not talking about animal control. This is livestock, because we're particularly.
Not poultry.
No, it
Doesn't.
I mean, your ordinance is right. Poultry is in
Yes,
the
sir.
general description of livestock. That's what I'm speaking to this issue, not the animal control, but that's because.
And on the state provision that speaks to hazardous situation that you try to learn. Got all into that or we?
You have to opt into, you have effectively opted into part of it by using your own business law, how to adopt this prohibition of authority. You have not adopted for weed control purposes, the unsanitary provision I just recited, that the state says you can do this, or you can use your public nuisance power. We're using our public nuisance power. I'm reciting to you a provision that's separate, where the state doesn't really talk. Agriculture in cities, and even to the cities to do that themselves.
But in they said.
Yes.
Yes.
It's by statute unincorporated areas, 36 inches.
I'm gonna my first tip, I have 36-inch tall grass.
And I think
And I'm excited about that a little bit. They're native grasses. They get to be about 36 inches tall and they're going to seed. I think they're beautiful. I think they know what it is to be. You know, and I'm like, look, it's 117 trainer. I don't think it has this. It's dangerous. I like looking at it and then breeze. It's part of our Texas hill country heritage. And I'm gonna probably repeat this a couple times tonight, but these ordinances to me, the issue I have with them is this body in particular and our ancillary committees, we give a lot of lip service to maintaining like a small town rural character. Say all the time. But I'm wondering, what do we mean by it? Do we mean some Disney-like version of that? I don't live in an HOA funded country club. I don't want it. And so I take issue with this. I think it's unnecessary. Like with small town, a lot of smart people. I don't like to be micromanaged. I'd be happy to take the whole thing out. Chapter 7, A1, specifically on road restrictions. That's where I'm at.
And I'm gonna say, I don't disagree, I disagree with taking everything else, I don't disagree with what you're saying. But I think my feeling tonight is that we could table it, because I don't wanna vote on language that I haven't seen, or language that the public has not seen. So I think we should be looking at our ordinance as it exists, hearing more from the public. The few people that I'm speaking to that have talked to me said, I don't want chickens in my yard. If I wanted chickens pooping in my yard, scratching up my plants, I think I'm chickens. So I hear that from some people. What that means is we got people on both sides of this, and I don't think we've heard enough. And I want to see, I'd like to hear more, and then I would like to see some language that would be out there for folks to look at and make a decision about whether that language is amended or not. I think 12 inches is too low. But the other thing in this is it says that the height of that excludes grass, weeds, or brush that's located on land that's actively being used as pasture. You're grazing livestock, you can have it. If it's located on land that's garden, you've got garden. Plants are up here, that's okay. If we wanted to add, if the topography of the land makes it impossible to mow it some way to maintain it, it's an exemption. So there's a lot of language in here that makes sense. I think that 12 inches is too low. But let's find out. Is it or is it 18? Is it, what is it? Or do you want to go, no matter how big it is, if it looks like it's going to be a health hazard, then we're going to be, that's really great. Before I look at putting that, and I want to clarify. Bottom line is, I would like to table it. I would like to be much more good about getting citizens to tell us what they want, and then craft something that we can actually look at to vote on. And until that time, suspend any compliance issues for landscaping until we get this to a place that citizens can look at what. And I need to look at what in terms of changes.
I haven't even got the chickens yet. And I missed the chicken game, I'm sorry. My vacation was planned for over here. You know, until recently, until we engaged this kind of, we had chickens in my neighborhood. I love them. I don't, there's no chickens anymore. Why? It's the end of road. Intimidated into getting rid of it. Again, a lot of lip service to maintaining a small rural town, and we can't have chickens. I mean, just, chickens aren't dangerous. They're just not. And I do think it's silly we're talking about this. I wouldn't be talking about this. We got really important things we should do. Maybe we won't break that, but I'm just want to be in the business of regulating chickens. And it's not.
I know.
And I think, you know, she's proving those chase chickens. You know,
See, one of them. I better. Got a place landscape, put in all that nice stuff along the driveway. The chicken scratched it all up. And on the other hand, I like to see the chickens.
And I'd like more, I need to table it, I'd like to really examine it. We got, and I know it's not part of the PTC, but there is going to be some discussion if you want to see. So we've got a public meeting coming up on October 17th, where comments can be offered. We've got council discussion time coming up. We can certainly encourage people to send comments to the office. And let's have some intelligent discussion about what the ordinance should say on both of those provisions and see where we need to cut down. I don't see anything in front of me that makes sense to vote on. I didn't pull the whole thing out. It doesn't make sense, and even if it did, then what would be left? Looking at, I'm going to document in front. If we're going to vote on something that should be by the citizens as well. And so I would just like to say, I think that what we're facing here is it's important all is what how do we like to the drugs and what we want it to look like. And again, we are we're not in an unincorporated area. You do have close neighbors, and those neighbors have different perspectives. You need to hear from all of them, not just see if you need here it comes. And that might be it. We exempt poultry from this, the livestock rule, and take poultry out. If that's the general consensus, then people would be free to get rid of these chickens and not be accountable for the loss of that process. Anytime that take their own chickens, take somebody else's chickens and ask for dinner. I don't but so I think those are the kind of things to sort of think about in there. But I'd like to table this issue and back into everything to more discussion and come up with an active policy language for consideration taking into account what the council said. staff said. Take it up. At the next meeting for the action. Great enforcement.
There's some merit in recommendation in regard to chickens. And that kind of thing is based for primarily. If you go to in my yard, I'll make it, I'll complain about it and we look at it. I would like.
I don't know, we have to ask our council whether you can, if some ordinance, basic enforcement of the general enforcement, if you can't. That's easy. We need to talk about this to figure out some sort of happen.
Money spot.
Because I appreciate the, go out and something to look at and discuss. Respect that you all knew it's not very clear that the ordinance too. So very diverse perspectives here that can be the basis for putting in front of the I mean, in that sense, just for example, speaking with your council, for example, that with respect to the weeds, that maybe some consideration of a sanitary standard as opposed to an objective type of standard might be something to put in front of the community either or. Because provision on site to about sanitary standard, no matter the height needs, I think what is the purpose of having needs control is really to deter unsanitary waste. So that might be one that's over here. And then with respect to poultry, deletion, just keep a rooster. I had a conversation with the chief veterinarian and opposition. And our station just adopted one rooster poultry in town. Chickens are fine. No roosters.
It's different every city out.
That's the problem solved.
I looked this up in the rooster report.
I'd like to table this issue. Item 2, for further investigation.
I'm still not done talking. Sorry, yeah. I'm concerned about going back and making these ordinances. It's pretty clear to me they're not popular. I know they're not popular. Further complicating that. What I have learned in this exercise with code enforcement officers, there's no room for any subjectivity in things. The height is the height, and I understand that we want to treat everybody fairly. I don't want to prove that I have a wildflower or a weed. All grass, I just don't want to do it. And this is the other issue too, and I think Vince Warren has mentioned this chicken thing really was that huge an issue. If you look at how many notices were put out, and so that again leads me back to, well, why are we making an ordinance on it? It's not that big of a deal, and nobody's complaining about it. I miss the chickens in my neighborhood. That's just me.
For the grasses, the high grass or unsafe condition would be a bigger issue, a more critical issue. Yeah, I would probably agree that the poultry issue, that big, like I said, recommendation, staff's recommendation is to take that out of livestock so you can have those. Not all they agree, but counts 10. But the critical issue is high grass.
When Fredericksburg, today, and I know areas where there have been fires, they burn more farm areas, like
because I think they're all, and it's maybe some different ways here that say it's not, I think it's maybe not now, but maybe it's just an exceptions. Just not safely, but that's the thing. And there are a lot of ways to do this.
Second.
Okay, I would just like to say, want to reiterate that these are ordinances that can be amended. So please come talk to us, email me, call me. I'm available. The other members are available as well. I just need to actually hear the feedback from them. So please, if you have suggestions, come talk to me. And a few weeks ago, I had an article about starting a complaint-based program. I have not heard from anybody about that, so please let me know your thoughts on that. I'm here to listen. I represent you. So that being said, we had a motion to table in a second. Is there any other discussion?
This is the second time it's been in front of council, and I think we have heard from the public, but that's what I'll say.
All in favor? All opposed? The motion carries to the line. To table this. We're going to move on to old business, item 3, which is going to canceled, has been canceled. So
You just want to list it and just.
okay. Item 3, consideration, discussion, and take action on voluntary annexation of 4.09 acre property at Rocky Estates located in the Morris Eagleston survey number 24, tract number 1, Blanco County, Texas.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. At 2 o'clock today, I did receive an email from applicant. However, in light of the information that we're looking over, may look into what it should have been. So, from a couple of people, they came to planning commission. I only want to listen to people. So I received this information, talked to the attorney, our next couple of council and neighbor update and where we're at.
We are going to move on to new business. Item 1, discussion, consideration, and take action on appeal of administrative decision denying application for building permits to install 2 intermodal shipping containers at I-1725 Southwest Highway 281, Blanco, Texas.
Okay, so this is a field. We had communication to outside storage, basically the metal containers, and that is actually in the C1 district, unless you get a conditional use permit. That so then after that, the applicant requested that review the information and look at some information provided. So after my explanation, this portion of the field, but staff made recommendation, administration denied request to allow this, and that's what this is. So, the recommendation from staff would be this actually goes to planning commission as a SUP, special use permit. Special use permit does allow the C1 for a mobile container. It's not that's a zoning issue. So we did provide this to Here, their promises are basically set. So, like, so. It's fine. Thank you.
Mr. Sal?
So, I have a 7-page, page 5-page. Hired counsel, first off, Johnson, second, Petro, LLC, property owner, the gallery, and now the Fairview, down on the south side of the mountain. We're really glad to hear it like that. Having said that, I'm not really glad to be here right now. Having talked to my legal counsel, he said, it'll be okay. First off, there's 3 things that you need. Find out. A, city council, it's not meeting as a city council. Defending the death as code ordinances. It is now convening as a zoning board of adjustment. That's approved by like-minded citizens that are helping federal citizens interpret and apply the city's zoning ordinances. The second thing you need to remember is this is the last shot with the city. This is all of the administrative permits. And so the third thing is that if the zoning board of adjustment, if it issues a conclusion, if the conclusion is articulated clearly, identifying the law that supports this conclusion, and if it has been properly applied to the situation, then that's really going to be the end. Now, hopefully, we'll take a rid of some shari to get that conclusion, but if he does, then that means we'll have to. On the second page, this is sort of an assessment procedure, I think. This was just how we on this point, all of you would be aware of what the specific laws are that cause not a denial of outdoor storage. We have shipping containers all over the city. Chamber College, when you get a car, Brad's got some like Rio Gym. They're not doing outdoor storage. This is just a stumbling block. So, A, you're in a position not knowing what I'm trying to defend, and B, I'm not real sure what I'm trying to oppose. But I don't have to storage. What we applied for is the building permit to install Paramount shipping containers in accordance with the international law. And to use those as real, I can see them on my neighbor's side. So, having said that, I'll move on to the next page. We really are presenting this board of adjustment with 2 petitions. The first is we just want a rational and superior interpretation of the uniform development with respect to shipping. And barring a favorable outcome, we petition for a special session, which is in your ballot. Our first petition, next page, petition 1. This was what the city told us, that our request for limited outdoor storage would be a violation of the city zoning requirements. We never used the term outdoor storage. But we want our residential, what we want our accessory structures. We want them for extra sales floor. We want them for extra office space for special events that you have on the property and a myriad of uses. Just like the uses that are being done in other shipping containers like those, as well as some ground locations. Like the section of UDC that is cited to us is an entirely silent on the subject of shipping. We would hopefully find words in the development code that says shipping containers in non-residential districts can only be installed in accordance with this table. And that's the table that was provided unless anything comes up. And only upon approval of the special use permit. Well, when you look at that table, you see that those 2 uses where a special use permit could in
fact, apply have to do with contractor services. That's something like Sean Cole's landscape. Bunch of heavy equipment. That's not an argument. The other is self-storage. Well, that's where you go take your extra stuff that your garage and home is wrong and you store it. That's not what we're doing. In fact, the problem with uniform development is for commercial use, property, there's 20 different uses. And guess what? Not a single use. Maybe those common use of property in the city. So we find this syllogism that is just expressed by the city staff that shipping containers are outdoor storage, right? So the city has the authority to regulate outdoor storage at this point in this section for development. And then we have this really odd limited outdoor storage provision that says you can only do limited outdoor storage or a special use permit. But if you look at the definition of limited on the next page, what's wrong with that syllogism? Look at the definition of limited outdoor storage, and it specifically precludes storage containers. Just like City Secretary Redmond, she noted that. It precludes that. So this syllogism simply doesn't work. Limited outdoor storage is temporary storage of goods in individual packaging. Think about crates of stuff at Lowe's or Tractor Supply. That's limited outdoor storage. So failing on the first premise that any presence of a shipping container means that you're doing outdoor storage and not other things like cooking out, like you do with Rio now, officing out like we do with Rio now. That's just it's a stretch, and I can't really see why we're implementing this policy in fact, because we've always done it that way, instead of just reading the code and seeing what it actually says, not what we wish it says, or not how we wish you to read it, what it says. So our second petition is for a special exception to the act policy. Mr. President, 2014 about. So bringing to the final page, why a special exception for the factor policy? Well, first off, we think that the members of the Lango community, we purchased these shipping containers on the very last day, on the absolute last day of our 1031 exchange, where we had, after we sold our property in Johnson City, and we had to reinvest within a 180-day time frame. On the very last day, we get this very favorable email from Bureau Veritas that said, we've got no problem with that. You just have to figure out that the city will allow it. Would you guys sit down? Yeah, thank you. On the very last day of our exchange, so I plugged down $15,000 for two pristine shipping containers. And there happened to small tracking with an MRC administrator, and she doesn't know what it says. In fact, she didn't even know how to sell it. And so it was a really rocky. And despite declining progress, we have come a long way. And we're continuing to evolve. We've got a sculpture garden we're going to open this month. And we'd love to have those shipping containers as a backdrop, because we can have community artists make those look like they've been there along forever. And this is a great reason to turn left across the 81 if you're heading northbound. And anyway, I do want to talk to Lynn's email, because she doesn't just have freedom to offer her opinion, she has a duty to offer her opinions. And but I do want to note that everybody is not likely to plus an intermodal shipping container. First off, everybody in Blanket doesn't have long-distance profit. That's commercial, industrial, agricultural.
And if the proscription of shipping containers as a de facto policy is so popular, and let's just take it the rest of the way, put it in your code with words like I showed you. Subject to your questions, that really concludes my presentation.
So I'm curious as to why you just go, when you Mr. Arnold said this is a special use permit request, but it's actually not. I did not just do a special use permit request,
Well,
go through the process after.
I've served for a little over 40 years. I've kind of learned to see when the staffs are head shooting and when they're not. The code didn't say that. The emails, the tribal chapters, but the code didn't say that. I'm pretty used to following what the rules are. I submitted original legislation to Congress and it's been approved. So I kind of understand the whole idea of legislative intent, the difference between will, shall, and might, or may. But also, it looked to me like a series of bad habits that I saw the city in were not popular, such as rezoning properties without the proper notice to the affected property owners. They just flew over the city staff's head at the time. Inability to interpret their own sign rules. And, you know, we're all human. And we're a small town. I live in a small town in Johnson City. God knows. If everybody's going to find 3 city secretaries in a row, stealing them, but we all band together and we get it. So I've kind of concluded this is just either a sort of ignorant practice or maybe it's a little bit of power grab or more authority to actually serve for ourselves. Or maybe it's a little bit of a money grab, just living so hand in hand. We need these fees for a purpose. There is. Our attorney has concluded there is no provision in the code you can actually accept money for a special use permit for a shipping container. And you've never done that. You've probably done it.
I guess one problem is, you know, what I think of shipping container is looks like an available box like sitting there. I've been working on Walmart. One night I came out of there and there was a couple of car was down. They said, "We're stuck here. Can you give us some bids for where we're staying?" And I did, and it turned out Spring Branch. I got to get there again, but it was a little community and it was made built shipping containers, and they had these all home. They were 2 stories high. They had decks and the landscape, it was painted, windows. It was a neat, but if I lived in a place with tornadoes, this is the kind of house I'd like to live in. Those babies aren't going to fly off anywhere. I'm going to burn the forest.
One other good thing when I was down there, I lived there, they orders on them, they signed the contracts. They were perfectly versatile and fit even with the spot. You pick them up.
When I saw them, it kind of changed my attitude towards shipping. They don't necessarily be a storage. I guess it's a problem of knowing what you have in mind and what you're going to like as an entrance to our city. Going to be like a shipping container or going. It's culture going.
Well, sure, and why would an art bound sabotage it such that it's. And what other guy might say, side of that, I think, house coming along here. This is for
I think 2 things. One, there's no doubt that as we're looking at modifying our DC, it's a consideration we can have because we don't have any standards in terms of the building permit issue as to residential or commercial or where they be allowed, what will they look at, what can you have, all this. So I don't disagree with you, Sean, that we need to do something with our UDC. This all seems to me like it could just a lot easier to work with special use permits, drawings, and some whatever decided exception for allowing it in that place where that just makes sense and then we all be something. One of the things I would say is obviously you are a very talented person and I wish you could take some of that talent and help us do some of these things like our wonderful volunteers that have worked so hard on engineering and infrastructure. They give up their time, they give up our talents to make our community a better place as opposed to saying, wow, their infrastructure sucks, so they want to do something about it. So I invite you to case and actually sit down with us and help us make some positive changes.
I have Kenny Clark, I've been a city manager for 3 years, and a professor of public administration.
I'm
Crazy stand up.
good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
if I can help in any way, yeah,
We got a lot of good code work that we get to do grass.
So again, I'm gonna put my cards on the table. Generally, I hope in the future that our UDC can be cleaned up, and I would like to see the use of shipping containers propagated, because they are an innovation in building. That's why they've been adopted by many talented architects, and we can see some really amazing things people are doing with shipping containers. I have friends in the county that are doing some really cool things with them. So, but more specifically to John and Linda's project, and Echo 2, John and Linda have a track record of good aesthetic choices. This is what they do. They trade in good aesthetics. Anybody who's driven by the property, they can see they're doing something that one would be proud of. And so I would move that we approve.
And I want to make one comment here, is that all the training that I've had, you can appreciate this, just to your comment, Councilman. When you're looking at making decisions on it, never the who, always the what. Never the who. So when we have Linda can be trusted, so we should do this. We have to remember if somebody can't be trusted, wants to do this, is this something that we follow to allow the city to have the rules and the guidelines in place to make sure we're looking at it. And that's why I look at the special use permit to say, here's what I'm using it for, here's what I'm putting it in, here's what it's gonna look like. And even if the code decides that as it is, we have the ability then that system is in place to make that exception for that use as to where it is. But I don't doubt that when you'll do what they will be lovely, the next person who wants to do something that isn't lovely, we can't say we trust them. We don't trust you. So
Well, I appreciate that, but I do think that this, it seems like the case has been made pretty effectively that our UDC really doesn't speak to this.
maybe I'm just looking for favorite. Which we find that we do not. We do not, well, I trust my board of adjustment tonight to read the code and tell me how it says you cannot have a shipping container used as a accessory structure. And you can't use it as an accessory structure installed without a special use permit. I'm gonna trust you to be this that because that's what a district court's gonna do. Is if you in fact apply the law, carefully analyze it, and make a thorough determination of it. That's why. And then when you reconvene as a city council and you speak, I'm happy to participate in one of that. Thank you.
Yes, Steve. The board of adjustment. City councils and general law cities are not clear. Normally they separate the function. I want to be sure you're really answering two questions tonight. One is a procedural question, and the other is on the merits. procedural question really goes to this overarching question, which I've talked to Kelly Gunsberg, the previous city admin, I talked to Warren Escovitch, same question, same project since I've been around as your city attorney. And that is, this thing is a square peg in a round hole. It didn't quite fit under our current UDC. I think everyone is clear tonight that our UDC needs to be updated. No doubt about it. Two, take into account the innovative, incredible uses for industrial storage container that's going on in the world. Our code doesn't quite address it. So what you did, our code addressed it. Quote, to determine how unlisted trusts should be treated, the city staff shall produce an administrative policy for addressing unlisted uses. Which is what we have here. By Mr. Solomon's presentation, it's talked about we have an unlisted use. And that provision then goes on. This will be consistent with all of the provisions of this code, allowing or administrative decisions by the city staff, or requiring legislative action by the city council, or a combination of both. So I want to put that obviously that you're facing with everyone here talking about a hole in our code. And Mr. Escovitch and this one we my letter dated most recently on 12/2022 advised Mr. Solomon that these containers may be allowed by special use permit. Now, this is our advocate for substance, but in the case of a denial of administrative permit versus special use permit, there's some very important distinctions. They have to do with public notice. Under a special use permit notice, all notice goes around to all the adjoining landowners. Then I think it's 1,000 feet. I'm going to go on that. With denial of the building permit, no adjoining notice comes out. Notice on the web and notice on the paper. Special use, notice on the web, paper, and adjoining landowners. Denial of the building permit, which is the appeal you're hearing right now, didn't go out to adjoining landowners. That's a very important procedural point, because it has potential question with respect to what if an adjoining landowner comes forward later on and says, hey, you didn't use the right procedure. I'm hearing part of that right now. Well, if future landowner, adjoining landowner, what is in favor? I don't know about the person that expressed opposition. I'm not sure adjoining neighbor. But I do know under state law, the input of adjoining landowners is one of 4 factors that go into your decision making as a board of adjustment on zoning and use questions. It is to be considered actively. So if we're wrong about this policy that Mr. Escovitch adopted by saying, hey, you can go through the special use permit process, we're wrong about that. That's a consideration for you to make. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to be your opinion about the legality or not, because I think whatever you want to do, you can consider the merits of the time on this night. But be aware, part of the reason for this Escovitch's position was to provide that did not happen in this case. So please say that.
I really appreciate and appreciate it. I think there are a lot of good things about it. I do want to point out that you as a council, right, the debt variance, so 10 feet to 15 feet, basically allowed. The other thing the staff also did was the current location is fine, not today. So there are some considerations of the entire project. Like this is a particular issue because look at the full bar city. That is what there have been considerations made for this project, which I think is very good.
Very fine.
You have there. 1 minute.
So this is the very first time we've heard that there's city administrative policy. It doesn't appear to be published, but it's rotating around very better in the heads. That can be made on the fly. But I'm not asking to invoke that city policy because I do not believe that the zoning purpose gives that provision, gives the city staff the authority to manage such a use permit when one's not been described in the use file. And I don't believe that these policies that float around in the city staff's heads are going to continue with virtually, they're particularly in a de novo review. And so that's the top review of this.
To be clear, Mr. Sullivan's right. Policy is stated by the government. That's the left, Mr. Sullivan. You can adopt it. You would listen in court. That's why I said it, because you have two decisions. You can decide that policy is not. As a matter of policy, you're making that. If you choose to approve this on the merits, you're saying, hey, this is a building permit. We don't think it needed to go for special use, as Mr. Axley said. And I'm just pointing out that that's a decision that you're making. She's not on that. And as I mentioned, we'll be doing so under this procedure versus this procedure. Given it, there are other rationale pieces of it already stated. But you're creating as a right. It's only a special exception that gets the right. I'm all in professionally.
I agree. I just want to make sure that we're doing a process in a way that we are setting precedent, doing things that we're doing it in a way that is laying foundation and ground. What are the building standards that have adopted those in our ABC as opposed to issuing a special use permit without a full. I'm trying to understand.
Know what the building is going to be.
I found it confusing. To me, it was very simple. It's a special use permit. You come up and say, put this here, it's gonna look like this, here's what we do, it's done. But I'm concerned about precedent setting process, et cetera, bodies, but I feel this things, broad. Mr. Tuckey, I think to look at, adopt, moving with containers, I can tell that gets done. It may make sense that we do a special use permit. I'm concerned about how we got here in this process. Where we make a decision as a council versus a whatever does. That's
But
Building
the statement of fact, if you this appeal, then you would actually have something that is in on that property, a C1, normally would not be allowed. That's just a simple statement. That's not yes or no. It's just a simple statement. That's what you have. You do that, and that's what you have. Something that is different than what is actually done.
And again, I'm not saying I can look at that. The process is not going to go. Build the permit. Build the permit versus.
But the moment we find ourselves in right now is we don't have clear direction. And that's where we're at. And this isn't gonna come up, this does not come up all the time, but it's here today. We don't have clear direction from the city. So that leads us to decide the merits of this project and building permit, correct?
Well, or decide, no, we would like to have them back and file a special use permit. Well, expedite it and have it. That's the alternative.
What's the minimum amount of time we can expedite? What's the amount of time for public notice? And then I feel like the chairperson would call a special meeting P and Z, we could expedite that process. And how many days?
So it wouldn't be in favor until next week.
So we'd be looking at 3 weeks. Yeah.
And I think, you know, I regret that you're all in this situation. I really-
We have. That's how we want to lose meeting every. And we will go to court because there's aggressively stated there, other than in his head, there's nothing in the you see that says should be taken to not being so. There is nothing. City development, pirates.
Yeah.
City staff, policy, the city. So.
Is there a way to do this somehow conditionally as in and where they're going to be placed, where they're going to be placed, what they're going to look? They're going to be like, is it even plan and
Yeah,
provide?
it's in the building, permit application, but I, currently have a copy of that.
Well, you might consider, you could. You could advise. Might otherwise legally appear in a special use permit, such as approval of rendering by the city administrator or something like that.
Yeah.
So that if your concern is trying to meet this special situation, potential hardship that's being sought, that very much. So,
And I think, yeah, I think that's. Not mad, trust.
And it means that, but I believe.
Yes, okay, and that's the other thing I'd love to say is that if it were approved, I would want to be on the condition that the renderings, the setbacks, et cetera, approved as opposed to the trust. Because again, it's not the hoop, it's the lot. So if we're gonna say this is fine, it's not like John, good job, because Ruth and Fred are not. And so something is gonna get done. So, some process on here. Some conditional ways in the future, you have to look at something or et cetera.
I certainly appreciate that. In this moment, we don't.
I just, just a minute.
I feel like it's an onerous process. It's fine to have this business done. Get on
have a motion to approve the appeal approve the building permit. Is there a second?
There's another motion. That's
Motion passes. So, is there a motion?
I would like to make the same motion. Well, with the, defend with work counties not rendering. Tony, let us know what it is.
Councilmember McClellan has moved to approve the building permits with the amendment to have the renderings of the building available.
My offer were that subject to submission of renderings, do this and approval of renderings to the city administrator. Is that acceptable?
Sounds good.
Is there a second? Mayor Pro Tem Warren has seconded. Any further discussion? The motion carries unanimously.
I'm looking forward to your hours and volunteer work on our building.
October 17th. We're moving on to item 3, discussion, consideration, and take action on approval of special use permit to allow for a food court located at John Taylor Addition Block 2, Lot 1, property located in R5. And we received the advice from the PNC, and I believe this item was tabled.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Table. Property located on Fourth Street, Elm Street, Zone R5. There is a concern from planning commission without all the information. But the provider needs to give positive recommendations. The commission, PZ did table it. They act then in November. Following that.
So it needs to be approved by the DNC before we take action on it.
So there were no recommendations, so yes. Reason why it's today. So it's still notice. That's why there'll be more information on the package.
I would like to see more information about that. Such as parking. Not only we know how many vendors that figure.
So we did, we notified that. But there's a question. Excellent. Parking and how that all relates to public safety. Basically, for to happen in a world on this.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item 4, discussion, consideration, and take action on approval of variance from section 903.
Take any action at all on that. Okay.
Okay, going back to item 3, is there a motion?
I
Councilmember McClellan has moved that for this. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mayor Pro Tem Barron has seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? The motion carries unanimously. So now we're going to go on to item 3, just discussion, consideration, and take action on approval of variance from section 9.03.183C, banners on non-residential property to allow for banners to be displayed all year in the historic district instead of 4 times for 30 days each time. Ryan Moses, the interim Blanco Historic Preservation Chair.
Thank you, Council. Mayor.
We get her to stand on chairs.
Absolutely.
I'd like to thank Lori, Warren, both for helping along this process, helping navigate the paperwork protocol necessary to get this done. Obviously, very well what we're asking for, we're looking at. It's all year long downtown. Historic district. I hope that everybody else feels the same way about it. Go on. Thanks to the parents,
Thank you.
Any questions?
I know that this also came before NC and it was approved unanimously.
That is correct.
So I just want to state that I love these banners. I love that there are colors instead of Johnson City colors. So great job on that.
I can't take credit for that. They weren't designed before I came along, but I wanted to allow us.
I'm assuming we have a structure, put them on.
That is correct, sir. We have 4 in place. Same size, same structure required.
I have a question, maybe of staff. I just want to make sure, is this the simplest way for us to do this? Obviously, I'm very supportive of the banners. I just, this variance, is this the best way?
Yeah, so, and I don't state this part. Clean this up, but essentially, the rules actually say you can have banners, 4 times in a 30-day. And so, in order to do around the various process is what was necessary to allow. I think they're different colors, I think it's the same size. And it seems what in the plans.
And the only other question, maybe it's not germane to this specifically, but I did attend the PNC meeting. And I noted that as a city, we're charging our Historic Preservation Commission $400 for putting the banners up. That just doesn't sit well with me. Can you speak to that at all?
So that is what the process is. However, the council can, if we make a motion, can just ask that staff make that fee. That's fine.
That could happen to me.
Yes, sir.
Would this preclude February, we're going to have the Lavender Festival, and they have banners that they want to put up. But we've approved them. Can they be taken down for a week while we have a Lavender Festival or something and then put back up again? Are we excluding anyone else?
So there's 2 different things going on. This is going to be annual banner, and then also temporary banner that take up those 15 or 30 days. So obviously, if it's Lavender Fest or something like that, I'm sure it's worth it. Thing around, sure. But you don't staff.
Is there a motion?
I'm happy to move that we approve the variance from section 9.03.183. Banners on non-residential property to allow banners to be displayed all year in the historic district instead of 4 times for 30 days.
Councilmember Drake-Hill, that is.
Right. I do. That. Can do that in the same motion. I also would like to see the fee waived. So this sort of conservation commission. This.
I'll fix the motion.
Okay, we have a motion on Councilmember Drake-Hill to approve the historic banners to be displayed all year in the historic district and to waive the fee of $400. And we have a second from Councilmember McClellan. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? The motion carries unanimously. That being said,
Graciously, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
We are going to move into executive session. And I have to read out all of these, but before I start reading, I just want to say, we're going into executive session. Please remain quiet until I'm done reading. So at 8:37, we're going into executive session. Item 1, Texas Government Code, sections 551-071, 551-072, and section 105, Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct, confer with city attorney regarding Far Paradise Utility Easement Agreement. Item 2, Texas Government Code, section 551-071, and section 105, Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct, and 551-072, confer with city attorney regarding Canyon Lake Water SC water valuation with West Water, city's interest in undivided use. And item 3, Texas Government Code, section 551-071, section 05, Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct, to wit discussion with legal counsel regarding potential broadband grant. So we are adjourned into executive session. Thank you.